gameplay, we have the menacing Jinzo. It's kind of a boss, if you will. I mean, it does special summon itself, but at the end of the day, this is a Jinzo-oriented deck. But some of the Dark Machine stuff actually makes it quite viable. Now, obviously, it's not going to be the most S tier of meta, but look what we're playing up against. We've got a true king of all calamities over here, and that's going to make it so there's no effects that are going to be going off at all. But we still have the Reflect Bounder, which is basically part of the Psycho support that's similar to Jinzo. Jinzo's called Psycho. It's part of like the OCG wording on it, but nonetheless, Reflect Bounder is still part of it, but it's mainly a Dark Machine deck. But we also have Heavy Metal Raiders here, which is going to be quite awesome. In fact, you might be wondering, why would you play traps in a Jinzo deck? You actually need it because if your opponent doesn't play impermanence, well, you're actually not going to go ahead and be able to get your stuff. But because something was destroyed, hold on, this is important. So he gets the ultimate effect off of Despacito Barrel Dragon over here. So whenever I'm going to actually explain some stuff because it's going to go really fast here. If a Dark Machine monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you get a special summon, and then during the battle phase, as a quick effect, you toss a coin 3 times and destroy face-up monsters up to the number of heads. And if the result is 3 heads, you also get a draw card. But yeah, he just lost his entire board, and basically this card is going to be saving him. But we also got another copy of Heavy Metal Raiders, and I'm just going to explain some of this because a lot of these cards are so old you guys probably haven't seen them, and it's really fast. But anyways, Heavy Metal Raiders is well, it's a field spell, so of course it's continuous. Anyways, the first time each Dark Machine monster you control will be destroyed battle each turn, it's not destroyed. And if you took battle damage from the battle, it gains that much attack after damage calculation and keeps that attack as long as this card is on the field. And also, once per turn, if a monster you control that was originally Dark Machine destroys a card or cards on the field by battle or by card effect, you just special summon a Dark Machine monster from your hand, which helps out with the consistency of being able to go ahead and summoning the menacing Jinzo. There's not very many decks that are too trap focused. The Eldritch Elixir kind of is, but for the most part, like, who is playing Paleozoic now with that frog on that list? It's probably not going to be too common. That's for sure. But that was like the one deck, Alter guys. But like, let's be honest, that deck doesn't see the most play. Adamant Sepitator is like the deck that a lot of people have been playing. There are a few decks that can throw in a few traps, but for the most part, not everyone's going to be playing this. But I want to show you guys how good this deck can be. So we're going to have double of these out. Remember, every single time that he's destroying that, you're going to be able to special summon a Dark Machine. But there's also other support that goes with the archetype. So you're going to go destroy that card. But remember, this card protects the cards every single time. And then you start boosting up your attack. Jinzo is a really good card, but it's fragile in its attack. And this is where this kind of helps out. And now we also have the Cyber Energy Shock, which is a quick play spell card that says if you control Jinzo, you get to target a card on the field and destroy. If it's a trap card, you get to apply one of these effects. You get to negate the effects of one face-up card on the field, or you get to make it so each Jinzo you control gains 800 attack, and then you can only activate one of these per turn. There's a card that makes your opponent basically get a trap card though, but he's going to go ahead and now activate this effect. As a quick effect, remember, this card contributes itself to summon a Jinzo from your hand or graveyard. And some of the cards, even the legacy, like older, newer support, this is technically like old support with Jinzo Ejector over here. This card becomes Jinzo while it's on the field of the graveyard. So basically, you keep this card, and then once it's about to go away, or if this is already procced, you go ahead and swap it into another card. And then on top of that, this card lets you tribute it and add a Jinzo monster from your deck to your hand. And then you get to reveal all of your opponent's set cards, and then if there's a trap, you can just special summon Jinzo, which locks down all of your traps anyways. So now he's going to go ahead and take some small damage, but it's worth it. Now we're going to have at one with the universe. So we're going to go ahead and see the newer card over here. So you send one monster you control that's owned by your opponent to the graveyard to special summon a machine monster from your hand or graveyard, but we're not using it for that effect. We're using it for when your opponent draws for their normal draw. While you control Jinzo, you can declare a card type, monster, spell, or trap. Reveal the card they drew, and if it's declared type, you get to draw one card. It's just basically cycling through cards for the most part, but it does list Jinzo on its name, so that's why it's there. It's basically trying to incorporate the newer stuff. Would I recommend it? Probably not. But we also got, of course, the Cyber Energy Shock. This card is actually really good because it's a quick play that if your opponent is going to have the trap card, because there is a card that lets your opponent basically have a trap card, you're going to go ahead and be able to get not only rid of that card, but on top of that, you're going to be able to get whatever effect that you want. But now we see all the Jinzos coming out. We got the new Psycho Giga Cyber, and it makes it so if your opponent controls more spell and traps than you do, just special summon it. Which Elder Elixirs the whole archetype itself can definitely do. And then we're gonna go ahead and see him go ahead and synchro into a Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, which is gonna bounce back a card and swing for game over here. I like this username too, Asperopa over here. I play Duel Links, I know who that is, although technically it's from the anime. So just as a heads up, I won't consider this meta, but I just wanted to show you guys a really cool vid over here that was sent in. Technically, Teriyaki made his deck with the VFD Turbo, but the Jinzo deck, it proved itself to be a-okay against VFD. Honestly, I think this deck could probably use some changes here. I'm definitely thinking you can throw in Pot of Extravagance, but maybe this is a budget deck. I mean, technically these cards aren't out. There's a lot of newer cards that we got to see over here. But this is the card I didn't get to talk about, but all it does is lets you search out any Jinzo card, which again lets you have a lot more consistency, and this card's pretty good too. But yeah, anything that adds Jinzo or a monster that specifically lists, where is it? Yeah, this one forces them to have the trap for Cyber Energy Shock, but you get to add, where is it? If they do special summon, okay, yeah, if your opponent can set one trap directly from their hand or deck, and if they do, you get to special summon a Jinzo from your deck. Otherwise, you get to add a Jinzo or a monster that specifically lists it, which could be a lot of different cards over here. Like I said, the Psycho and the Jinzo are kind of like the same thing. If you look at the artwork, this is the newer version. This is Reflect Mountain. This is the Psycho Bounder over here, which this card technically is still part of the Jinzo archetype, even though that's not his like thing. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile, and I'll talk a little bit about maybe some of the cards that we didn't get to see over here. There's Extravagance. This is the first time I'm actually taking a look at it. Anyways, the Despacito Barrel Dragon. This is actually one of like the best cards, I think, for Dark Machine. It is kind of a sacky card, but the effect is absolutely insane to be able to potentially pop 3 cards draw. That's so good, and because it's a surprise, I like it. It's like the best version of Gores ever, and I like the OCG artwork. In fact, does it even have... we don't even have the TCG artwork. It looks terrible, by the way. This one looks way, way, way better. And then, of course, the Menacing Jinzo. This is the card where it lets us dodge, go ahead and go into another Jinzo. So they have to basically destroy it 3 different times, because if you happen to have the Heavy Metal Raiders, remember this will prevent it once, then the second one will be you tributing to dodge it, and then the third time is the Jinzo Ejector coming out, and then you'll be good to go. But yeah, I like that, especially summon a Jinzo from your hand or graveyard. You can technically just go for regular Jinzo. 3 copies of Jinzo, 3 copies of Psycho Giga Cyber over here. Again, I would say this is more of a fan deck than what I would consider very meta, because it doesn't have a lot of negates. Unless you count negating traps, then it does do that quite well. But it's just negate all trap effects is basically what Jinzo does. He's an old school classic card. People love him. Anyways, 2 copies of Reflect Bounder. Again, it's just part of the archetype and for lore here. And then for Psycho Bounder over here, if it's normal or special summon, you get to add a Jinzo or 1 spell trap that specifically lists that name in its text, which this card will have it in its text, right? So if another monster you control is attacked by an opponent's monster, you can destroy both the attacking monster and this card. So basically, it lets you kind of crash, kind of like how this does. Again, it's just not viable enough. There's also another card. Again, a lot of these cards are super old, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and kind of explain some of the stuff here. But once per turn with Blast Spider over here, you target a Dark Machine monster you control 1 face-up card your opponent controls, and you get to destroy both of them. And a monster you control that was originally Dark Machine destroys an opponent's monster by battle by card effect and sends it to the graveyard. You get to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the half of the original attack of one of those monsters destroyed and sent to the graveyard. I'm not sure if this is for the lore. I honestly didn't watch the anime. I could be from that. I'm not sure what synergy this has other than it's Dark Machine. But maybe it is there for like the, I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comment section. But obviously Jinzo Ejector is part of it. And I'll actually show you guys some more Jinzo stuff here. Because I did play an old Jinzo deck a super long time ago that was really cheesy. But Jinzo Director over here makes it so same becomes Jinzo while field in the graveyard. You tribute it and add a Jinzo monster, and then you can look at all of your opponent's back row, and if they have a trap, special summon Jinzo. Then we have Black Selva for your plays to go ahead and utilize your Jinzo Director with. And this is basically just Black Rose over here. And then we have Mind Control over here. Like I mentioned before when I went over the cards for the At One with the Universe, I think this is terrible though. Like, I would have to use Mind Control. Then I activate At One with the Universe, and then I send that one to the graveyard, and then I'm going to special summon a machine monster from my hand or graveyard. If it said hand, deck, or graveyard, and then let me draw a card or something, because I still have to draw Mind Control, and then I have this. I don't really like this card. It's just there because, well, it's a newer card, right? But anyways, there's mind control 2 extravagance. I think you can bump it up to 3. There's not really any other draw power in the deck. And then we got Reborn over here. Obviously, it's a pretty good card. Law of the Cosmos. Your opponent can, yeah, I already explained that whole fact. This card makes a game. I mean, remember, you're going to be boosting up their attack over here and potentially just making everything go crazy and just OTK your opponent. And then Cybernetic Shock, we already went over that fact. One with the Universe, I don't really like it. Amplifier makes it so you can still use your trap cards, but the main reason why you have to play traps is because in order to get this card, you just have to have 1 trap on the field or in the graveyard, then you're good to go. And then Heavy Metal Raiders, we already went over this. But Amplifier, what it does is it makes it so only you can use traps. It doesn't negate your traps because Jinzo technically stops all traps on the field and negates all of their effects. And then we have Psychic Shockwave. So activate only when your opponent activates a trap card. Discard 1 spell trap card. Spell summon a level 6 Dark Machine monster from your deck. That's kind of cool. Instantly summon Jinzo over there. Even though Jinzo technically would stop this, it's fine. And then Crackdown is probably one of the best trap cards that we have in the game right now. That and Impermanence I think are the best ones. But I'm guessing this is more going to be a budget deck. But by all means, throw it in there. Obviously, this card's expensive too. For the next deck, we have Samurai Destroyer. Most of these are just going to be 7s and then rank 4s. There's nothing too special in particular other than I think Black Rose is a great card. Salvo Dad was an old school thing. I think even Dark Arm Dragon would be kind of cool to go ahead and throw into this deck as well. You can definitely go for some OTKs. But anyways, Future Fusion is a really great card. You just go for the one that uses a bunch of machines for the is it Chimera Tech? Is it Rampage? I think it's this one. It just requires... No, it's not that one. Is it Overload? Oh, gosh, there's one target that you use for Fusion. Let me show you guys, because this is kind of important. It's the one... Someone will comment down below. Maybe I'll pin it. It's definitely... I'm pretty sure it's dark, and it's a machine... Oh, there's probably a lot of... Oh, this one. Chimera Tech Overdragon, yeah, plus 1 machine monster, this one over here. So you Future Fusion, and then you go ahead and send a bunch of Jinzo. Jinzo's not a fusion. So this is another way you can play the deck. Oops, because this is well, I was originally gonna build the deck, but I wouldn't have played most of these cards because I'll be honest, they're not very good. But it's cool that we got to see him actually, like, you know, do something with his deck over here. So there's a card called Jinzo Returner. And it makes it so, and when this card is sent to the graveyard, you're supposed to summon Jinzo from your graveyard, but you destroy it during the end phase. So you basically fusion for like 30 monsters, you send everything to the graveyard, you get triple Jinzo, and then you can go Limiter, or you can summon whatever you want, and it's usually OTK. I mean, it gives you basically triple Jinzos. In fact, is it just any Jinzo? Any Jinzo, so you would be able to get out a lot of the other cards. So that's pretty cool. All the newer stuff, technically Jinzo Sector probably wouldn't be a target that you really need, but yeah, you got game anyways. But yeah, those are the new Jinzo cards and the deck in action. Now that you guys have seen it, let me know what you think of it. I still, again, don't think it's that great, but at the end of the day, it's a fun deck, and people like to see Jinzo, and I get it. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new here, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on that bell, because we've got a lot more spicy stuff coming very soon. Talking about those Egyptian gods. But thanks for tuning in. If you guys want to send me in replays, just like my boy Teriyaki over here. This wasn't his deck, but it was the replay. So thanks again, buddy. I appreciate it. Send it to AzneyesReplays@gmail.com, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm out. Peace.